You're right. It is all my fault, right? So I want to tell you a story. My father thought it was really funny that me and my sister didn't like drinking from the sink. And he was saying that it's the same water that comes out of the filtered fridge. Um, and he even acted out like drinking water from the sink and then like like acting to like die or something like that. And I thought that was funny, but it goes down to a bigger issue when I really think about it, right? So this is one of those things where it's like you could easily be like, it's not that serious. But it is, bro. Every single thing, no matter how little, no matter how big, stems from something before. Whether it's an ideology, whether it's manipulation, whether I don't know what other words besides ideology would be, but it's like it's the structure of everything, right? So basically, I don't like drinking out of my sink because I have learned really bad stuff about the water system, at least like in America. Um, I have been out of state before to where state water has tasted bad. So instead of ignoring that, I looked it up and found out that, like, for example, when I was in Georgia, I found out that the water is not too clean. And they actually fail inspections all of the time. And they just still supply water. So it's one of those things where it's like, how am I supposed to just sit there and be like, oh, I guess so. I guess the water I'm drinking is contaminated. You know what? Why would I do that? Obviously, that's like terrifying. So I've also learned that like warm water has a lot more lead in it. And then sometimes your pipes can carry lead in it, even if it's not warm water. It's like there's so much yuckiness that happens with that. Also, when you find out the corners that are cut, whether it's for the actual restrictions on what's allowed for water, right? So I think the CDC does that, the FC, I don't know, whatever corporation that does like the health stuff, they can manipulate what's actually a bad dosage of something allowed in the water. You know what I mean? So they create the rules for that. They're not God, they're not science. They follow science, but they can manipulate it how they want to still benefit their benefits, right? Which are money and power and all of that. So they don't want to lose money. That's their goal at the end of the day. So even if something is bad, like fluoride in the water, they might still allow it because other people want it and they don't want to lose their money, right? So there's a lot of stuff like that that makes me really like, you know, I already distrust like a lot of stuff, but your own water, bro, not being able to trust your own water is 100% a top 5 biggest issue like ever that no one really talks about because there's nothing we can do. But the fact that every time I drink water, in the back of my head I'm thinking that this isn't good for me, but there's no other alternatives. It's really scary. Like we have to buy a $300 filter just to still potentially have microplastics and then take out all the good stuff from the water. It's like really concerning. Okay, but that's how I grew up, is learning all these facts, being curious about stuff and finding out bad stuff about it, you know? So now it comes off to my dad like I have something wrong with me, right? Like I see that water as yucky even though it's the same water, right? Because I guess he never learned that stuff, or even if he knows, he like doesn't put two and two together, because he was with me when we were in Georgia and the water tasted bad and I looked up why it tasted bad and then I told him why it tasted bad and he also was like, ew, that's gross. But then he moves on with his day. But then he moves on with his damn day. But I'm over here like, well, am I supposed to drink the water? Like, I don't know, bro. I'm literally left in the dark all the time by my damn parents and the people around me. And I'm not blaming my parents because maybe he was never taught this. So it's not even his fault. I think the biggest issue, obviously, is the system, which my parent is a product of. And then I'm a product of that, right? I'm not trying to say my parents are the worst people ever. In no way they are. They are beautiful, amazing people. But I just don't like being left in the dark for literally everything. It just always stems to just figure it out. Gang! What what are we doing here? You know like I don't understand. I don't know. I just could never imagine having kids and then whenever they have a question, me just going like, figure it out. You know what I mean? Like that is so insane to me especially when it comes to health stuff. Obviously for some certain stuff, it's whatever, figure it out. But health stuff, literally, I don't, I fear drinking water. I'm gonna drink water over other stuff, but it's still in the back of my head. I'm like, every time I take a sip of water, I think about all the microplastics. I think about all the fluoride. I think about all the bad stuff going into my body from drinking water. You know what I'm saying? That is not a fun life to live. That is not a fun life to live in any aspects. I know people are going through way worse stuff, but I'm just trying to highlight we need water. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like I can just not have it. Like, so I think it really brought to light a bigger issue when my dad was confused why me and my sister don't want to drink out of the faucet water. I think it shows how blissfully ignorant my parents might be to everything going on, whether it's how the pipes are made, how the water is actually not that clean coming from a facility, how important these filters in the fridge are to clean the drinking water, right? And that there's a reason why they're there. One time our filter ran out in the fridge and my dad was like, "Oh, it's fine. They still filter it at the place." So because I'm not the head of household and because I don't have a whole bunch of money, I can't be like, "Hey, let's not do that. Let's replace the filter. Let's let's not trust that the facilities that are coming from they're perfect, clean water all the time, right?" Because if you do your research even around the state that I'm in, there are a ton of houses who have tested their water and gotten results back that has said that it's been a too much harmful amount of something that was not supposed to be that high, right? And it's common that happens. So living in a place where that commonly happens, but then trusting the place where the water comes from and putting no filter has to be the dumbest thing you could possibly do. But I'm not saying my parents are dumb. I'm saying they just don't even know. I think they don't even care. I don't think they even care. Which I think is, once again, a bigger problem. What about society is making my parents not care about the fact that the water is harmful? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's one of those things where it's like everyone needs water, so why doesn't everyone know what's going on with the water? It's really crazy to me in my head. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it, right? Everyone knows the food's bad for them, but then the water is like, nah. Right? So I just wanted to talk about this because I'm sure 100% there are other people going through this same exact thing. Maybe not with water, but with something similar where it's like you just are left in the dark on it, where you learn over and over and over again how bad this thing is, but you literally need it. And then when you're like, well, what do I do? It's bad and I need it. And then the people who raised you your whole life are like, I don't know. It's like, damn, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, bro. I don't know. Time to sip my water, bro. That's what's up. Fluoride. Oh my god, bro. I don't know. This was an issue I just wanted to talk about because it's been on my mind. Even though the scenario I referenced literally happened like half a year ago, maybe even longer. But I just keep thinking about it because every time I drink water, I always think about the plastics. I always think about the fluoride. I always think about all this bad stuff that I don't even know is in there. Right? And that is not a life I want to live at all. Not one little bit. Right? I struggle to find a reason to want to wake up in the morning already, and not trusting my own water and food and parents and system of life and environment. It makes me not even see a point even more. Right? I'm not saying that I just want to but it's like, if that happened, I wouldn't have a problem with it because this is hell. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Let me know how you feel if you've gone through anything similar. I'm sure you have. But wow, bro, there's just a lot in my mind to do with that type of subject. where it is kind of crazy how the system is so bad, but then I get pinned against my parents. Why are we pinning against each other? Why am I making them feel dumb and then them feeling upset that I'm making them feel dumb, when in reality, the biggest problem is around us? It's the environment, it's the system that puts everything into place. It's not my parents, it's not me, but we're the ones going at it. My parents are like, oh, you don't trust the water? You're so silly for not trusting the water. But then for me, I'm like, you don't know what's in the water? You're so silly for not knowing what's in the water. But in reality, the problem is around us. The people who supply the water, the people who cut corners on what even healthy is. Yeah. So I think I made my point clear. Subscribe if you want more. Listen to Blakey on all platforms. Blakey, music, Blakey. If you want my old music, IJB Luma. It's like JBL speaker, but IJB Luma.